Hey gorgeous souls, it's Vix. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel for the first time if you are new here. Today I want to talk to you about doing a no-buy. I want to talk about this from the perspective of how you can do a no-buy as a prosperity practice and as a spiritual practice, but especially talk about how it can really help you if you are somebody who is trying to manifest more prosperity, you're trying to manifest more money, you're trying to have a deeper experience of abundance and bring all of that stuff into your life. So essentially a no-buy is what it says on the tin. You pick a certain amount of time that you are going to set an intention that you do not buy anything that you don't truly need. So you can do a no-buy for a month, you can do a no-buy for 3 months, you can do a no-buy for a whole year, you can do a no-buy. I've seen other people on YouTube talk about how they've done a no-buy for like 3 or 4 years, which is amazing. So you pick your time. You say, I'm going to do this for a good period to start. If you're brand new to doing a no-buy, is a month. You pick a month and you say, for this month, I'm only going to buy the things that are necessities to me in my life. And this, of course, can be wildly different for everybody. We all have different expenses. We all have different things that we have to spend money on. Some people have a car you need to put money into. Some people need to buy a bus ticket. Some people, buy their own food. Some people don't. There's all of these different things. So basically you want to sit down with yourself and you want to say, what is essential? What are the essentials? And you make sure that you're still spending money on those things. And then you have a little chat with yourself about what are the things that are non-essential. Maybe some of the things that you have been spending money on that are really not very important, that maybe you're not even really enjoying or valuing that much. And then you kind of set the rules, the boundaries for yourself, and you say, okay, for this month, I'm allowed to buy these things and I'm not going to be buying those other things. So why would you want to do this, especially when you are trying to manifest more prosperity? We often talk about prosperity magic, abundance magic as the flow of energy. And we talk about it as in we have to be spending money, we have to be putting our money out into the world in order for us to receive more, because we want that kind of like cosmic flow of in and out, the inhale and the exhale of the prosperity consciousness. But if we are constantly kind of putting money out into the world without really being fully aware of where our money's going, what we're spending money on, feeling like at the end of the month you don't know where all your money went, or you just want to have a more conscious experience around spending, then doing a no-buy for a month, 3 months, however long you want to do it for, can really help you to tap into that energy of prosperity from a kind of a higher perspective, not from just a place of I've got some money, I'm going to go and spend it, but from a place of how can I really spend my money in the most aligned way on things that are really going to bring me joy and support me in my life and help me to basically live my best and highest life, rather than just grabbing something because it looked cute and it was on sale. Another part of the no-buy that I find has really shifted the way that I've looked at my spending is to, during the time that you are taking to not spend money on things that you don't need, to do a little bit of research into the things that you have been buying and the things that you are thinking about buying. So when I started to do no-buys as my own practice, I started to kind of look at where things were coming from and how things were being made. And I started to become really aware of just like how much stuff is in the world and how much consumerism is like so rampant within myself at that time. And of course, I'm still working on my stuff with that, but in society, and there's a big difference between prosperity consciousness and consumerism consciousness. So doing a no-buy can really help you kind of tap into some of that stuff as well. This practice is all about opening your third eye, getting really clear and honest with yourself, and your spending habits, your relationship with money, your relationship with prosperity. So those are some of the reasons, that it can be really, really useful. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the first time I did a no buy. Which, you may be in a similar situation yourself. I was living in London at the time. I had a lot of bills to pay. I was heavily in consumer debt, and I was really just in that place of constantly feeling like at the end of the month, I have nothing left, living paycheck to paycheck, not even paycheck to paycheck, because I was overspending constantly because I was trying to pay off debts. So I was constantly kind of like paying off my credit card and then putting money and then putting groceries on my credit card, that whole thing that some of us have experienced, which is not a great place to be in. And I got to this place. I'd actually started on my spiritual path again after a little while of kind of being on and off the path and being a bit of a dabbler. And one of the things I was feeling really called to do was to sort out my money stuff. I knew that I couldn't go on feeling like I never had any money. I needed to have more prosperity in my life, just to feel a little bit more stable, a bit more grounded, a bit more like I could do other things with my life rather than just existing and paying bills. So the first thing for me was to really sit down and go, okay, where's my money going? Because I felt like I never had any money, but I wasn't really that conscious about where my money was going. So that can be a really good kind of precursor to doing a no buy, is to spend a month where you write down every single thing that you buy and how much you spent. And it can be tedious practice, but it is fantastic if you really want to have a deeper experience with prosperity, to really know exactly where every single penny, I was living in the UK back then, every single penny that you are spending is going. So I did that for a month, and I was just amazed at how much of my money was going into places where I just, I had no idea. I had no idea that I was spending so much money on like hair products, for example. That was one of the things that really shocked me, was like, how am I spending this much money on, it wasn't even like shampoo and the essentials, but it was like, some new styling spray or some new like anti-frizz thing that was like promising me the world. And, at the end of the month, I'd spent like £50 on hair products. And I was like, wow, okay, that's interesting. So then you kind of graduate from that into the no buy, into the experience of the no buy. And then you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to buy any hair products this month. And the first time I did a no buy, I was absolutely amazed. Not just at how I didn't really feel any different. I didn't feel like I had missed out. I didn't feel like I had denied myself of hair products or whatever else it was that I was spending my money on at that time. I was amazed to find that I had money left at the end of the month. And I think the first time I did it, it was something like, at the time it was really a lot of money for me. It was like £200, £300 I had left at the end of the month. And it was just amazing to realize, A, just how much of my money was going on things that I didn't need, but B, it made me realize that if I could become more conscious with where my money was going and what I was spending my money on, that I could actually have money for the things that I really wanted to do and the places where I really wanted to spend money. Like if I wanted to go away for a weekend, I could, rather than, I don't have any money to do that. So since then, I have come back to the no buy practice over and over again. I don't do it all of the time, but every time I feel like I just need to kind of recenter and become a little bit more conscious again about where money's going and how I'm spending, I'll just say, okay, I'm going to do a no buy and just kind of have that experience again. And every time I do a no buy, I have deeper realizations. I have like a sense of what's important to me. It just kind of grows and expands each time you're doing it. So this year, 2024, I set the intention at the start of the year to do a no buy for a whole year. And that was like a big kind of a big intention for me. I'd never done a year before as a no buy. As the year has progressed and we're here in mid-February now, I've made some changes to that. But that's part of the beauty of these practices. They can evolve with you as you change your mind about things, as you have different kind of insights. You can change your mind and you can change the practice and the process. And I would recommend, though, that if you are brand new to a no buy, or you just feel like you really have to do a no buy, do it for a month and don't give yourself any leeway on that. Just say, for this month, I'm not going to buy anything. One really good trick, though, that I found really, really helpful the first time I did it, whenever I felt like I wanted something, and I was like, oh, I can't have this because I'm in a no buy. Instead of kind of letting that feeling of depriving myself take over, because depriving yourself isn't part of prosperity consciousness. And so instead of getting myself kind of deep into that, I started to keep a list, and I wrote a list of all of the things that I wanted, and I was going to give myself permission to buy those at the end of the month if I still wanted them. So I went through the month, I wrote this list of all of the things that I wanted. And there was a bunch of things on the list by the end of the month. There was one thing on the list, only one thing on the list that I still wanted at the end of the month. And it was a green lipstick, a Barry M green lipstick. And that was the only thing that at the end of the 30 days that I still wanted. Because this is one of the things that happens, right, with consuming, shopping. We buy so many things just kind of because they're there. We go into a shop and we're like, oh, this looks cool, I'm going to buy this. And sometimes it ends up being amazing. And we're like, wow, I'm really glad I bought that. Sometimes it ends up just kind of going on a shelf, something that doesn't get used, something that we've forgotten about by the end of the month. So keeping a list is a fantastic way to make sure that once you're out of your no buy, that you are spending your money on the things that you actually really want and really value. So that was the thing that I bought at the end of my first no buy, was that one green lipstick. It was like a green lipstick, but it turned pink. I thought it was really cool. Anyway, so this year for my no buy, I did a whole no buy in January, and I was really proud of myself for doing that. I found it was so easy this time. It was just really, really easy. And what you'll find with a no buy practice, even if you just kind of do it once a month now and then, you find that when you come out of the no buy, the next month, you probably spend less and you'll probably be more conscious, and you might still be like, oh cool, I can spend money again, I'm going to buy this thing and that thing, but you will think about it differently. I promise you'll think about it differently, and there will be things that you'll be like, oh no, I don't need that. So it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And so yeah, I was going to do it for this whole year. Did it for January, found it really easy, to be honest. It was just like, okay, whatever. Like, there's nothing that I really desperately need or want. So that's fine. I did write a couple of things on my list. Once again, there were little makeup things. One of the things though is not even available in Australia yet. So that's going to be on the list until that's even here. But what I did do at the beginning of February is I went to the local op shop. You may know these as thrift shops or charity shops. And I bought some magazines. Me and my husband had decided that we were going to do some vision boarding. And we said, you know what, buying some magazines from the op shop, secondhand magazines for like 20 cents is totally okay. We're going to give ourselves permission to do that. While I was in the op shop, however, I did find some other really cool things. And so one thing that I was doing in January, I wasn't going into the thrift shop. I was not going in. I was just like, I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to tempt myself. This is another great tip. If you're somebody that goes into a shop and you're gonna want to buy something, just don't go in, just walk past. So I went in and I bought a couple of really retro romance novels, and I found this set of placemats which were looked like they were kind of from maybe the mid 90s, and they were very, very cool, and they were $3, and the books that I bought were like 50 cents each. And so I came out of the op shop with this bundle of magazines, books, and placemats, and I'd spent like $5, which, you know, I'm a little bit on a budget this year, so that was amazing. But, you know, essentially I did kind of blow the whole I'm not buying anything this year. And then I kind of, you know, tuned into it and sat with it and was like, okay, you know, do I really want to do the no buy for a whole year? Do I want to maybe not completely give up on the idea, but like evolve it and shift it a little bit? So I've decided what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to do like no buy months. And in between those months, if I feel like I want to go thrifting, I'm allowed to do that. I'm also giving myself permission to buy books. Now, that doesn't mean that I give myself permission to buy every single book that I have my eye on, because I have my eye on so many books. But if I see a book in a shop and it's on sale and it's the book that I've been wanting for a while, I'm going to say that's probably okay. Secondhand books, if they are interesting to me and they feel like something that would be really useful for my practice, that is okay. I've also made a little deal with myself around buying online courses and signing up for things. I'm still allowed to do that as long as I'm working on the ones that I have already purchased. As long as I'm working through those, I'm allowed to do that. So it's really just like finding what works for you. So this year for me is going to be a low buy year. That's how I'm going to describe it for myself. It's a low buy year. I'm going to mix in some no buy months with some like thrifting and some book buys and some other little things like that. But I really want this year for me to be more kind of like a depth year, and we could talk about depth year in another video perhaps, but a depth year is where you basically go deeper instead of going wider. So instead of learning about new things, you dive deeper into the things that you're already interested in. Instead of buying 1,000 new books, you read the books that are already on your shelf. So you're kind of, you know, it's a little bit like a no buy as well, where you're kind of, you know, you're not signing up for things, you're not kind of doing a million different things, putting your energy kind of in a million different places. You're just kind of picking a few things and you're like, I'm going to go really deep with these. So yeah, so my year this year, it's going to be a little bit of a depth year. It's going to be a low buy. It's going to be a year where I am kind of just coming back to myself a little bit more, remembering what's important to me, really becoming more conscious about where I'm spending money. This has been like a journey for me for many, many years, but the journey's always evolving. It's always evolving. And every time you do a no buy, it just brings you closer to, you know, who you feel like you really are and what you really value and what's really important to you. And it is a fantastic prosperity practice. If you can do a no buy and you can come out of the month with like a whole bunch of spare money that you didn't think you were going to have, it's so, so powerful. I say this to people all the time when they're in a place where they're thinking, I never have enough money, I need more money. And I did this very early on in my money journey, where I felt like, well, I need more money and more money will be the answer. And so I read all these books on how to become a millionaire, how to like do money magic. Like I read all the books and, you know, I still wasn't making more money. And I was like, why am I not making more money? But doing this practice, it makes you realize, it puts you into a state of gratitude. It makes you realize what you already have. And it helps you to become a better custodian of money, to become a more conscious spender. The universe isn't going to give you $1 million if you're spending money on crap and you don't even know where it's going. If you're spending £50 a month on hair products and you don't even know that you're doing that, the universe isn't going to be like, hey, let's give Vic some more money because she's really doing well with this. You know, like working on our money stuff is such a huge, huge part of the prosperity path, of the prosperity experience. So let me know in the comments, have you done a no buy before? Are you going to do a no buy at some point this year? Are you doing a no buy year, a low buy year, a depth year? all these different things that we can kind of get into that just make us more conscious around how we consume and how we, the things that we buy, where our money's going, all of that stuff. I would love to hear from you about your experiences. And if you have any questions for me about doing a no buy or a low buy, please post in the comments. I would love to chat with you. This is such an amazing practice, and I really do believe that it's one of the practices that shifted my prosperity story, my prosperity blocks, a whole bunch of my stuff, like really shifted when I started doing this. It's really a fantastic way to set an intention and say to the universe, look, I'm serious about my prosperity stuff. I'm serious about getting this sorted out. I'm serious about getting conscious and clear on what's going on with my money so that I can hold more when it's ready to come in. It's such a powerful magical practice. So I hope you try it if you feel called to. And I am sending you lots and lots of love, and I will see you in the next video.